Welcome to Through the Bible with Pastor Michael, a podcast from First Baptist Church in Mustang, Oklahoma. Here's Pastor Michael.
All right, today, June day 3, and we are looking at 2 Samuel, 4 chapters today, 14, 15, 16, and 17. 5 observations. Number 1, David allows Absalom to return to Jerusalem, but had to live in a separate house and could not enter David's presence. And then secondly, Absalom made himself popular with the people and got David's counselor Ahithophel to be on his side. So as Absalom is brought back to Jerusalem, he is allowed to come back home, but he can't be in the presence of the king. He has to live separately. He ends up devising these plans and schemes to make himself popular with the people, liked by the people, tells them if I was the judge, I would side for you, all these kinds of things to try to get them to like him, and he gets Ahithophel to be on his side. All right. A third observation is Absalom continues to try to set himself up as king as he then re-enters into Jerusalem. So you can kind of watch this unfold today. Absalom had fled away. He comes back, and then this division starts to happen. Absalom is gathering people to be on his side. David leaves. Absalom re-enters Jerusalem as he seeks to set himself up as king in the people's eyes. A fourth observation, Hushai then gives opposing counsel to Absalom from what Ahithophel had told Absalom to do. So Absalom's getting input from these two different counselors. He takes one man's counsel, not the other, which sets up this very tragic end for Ahithophel. Our fifth observation, that discouraged that his counsel was rejected, Ahithophel returned home and took his own life. And so a very sad end here. We see this in chapter 17. In verse 14, it says that Absalom and all the men of Israel said, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel. And the result of that is what we just talked about in verse 23. When Ahithophel saw that his counsel was not followed, he saddled his donkey and went off home to his own city, and he set his house in order and hanged himself, and he died and was buried in the tomb of his father. So that's where we left it today at the end of our reading in chapter 17. 5 applications for us. Number 1, character is more important than appearance. Character is more important than appearance. We see in chapter 14, verse 25, now in all of Israel there was no one so much to be praised for his handsome appearance as Absalom. As far as appearance goes, Absalom is top of the charts according to the narrative here, the story. And the problem is that when people put too much emphasis on appearance, you end up setting up the wrong role models and heroes. When people are followed and when people are praised, when people are powerful based simply on their appearance, not their heart, not their character, not their integrity, you're in a really dangerous spot. We see that all the time in our culture, don't we? This person is considered beautiful or handsome, and so they're influential. It always amazes me when certain people have power in our culture, or they're paid money to give their opinions on certain things just because of their appearance. This is a handsome man, this is a beautiful lady, and so we're going to vote for who they say to vote for. Or this is a person considered to be lovely, and so we're going to go buy this product just because this lovely or handsome person endorsed it. It's really a strange phenomenon to me. But what was true in Absalom's day is true in our day today. That people look way too much at the appearance, way too much at the externals, and end up giving people praise and influence because of that. And that always sets us up for a fall. Secondly, flattery is not honorable. We see this as Absalom seeks to flatter his way into the hearts of the people. And so you have someone who is known for being handsome, and now he is a flatterer, and now you combine external appearance with flattery, and you end up getting a really bad recipe for who you want to follow. Flattery is not an honorable thing. The Proverbs tells us and warns us against that. Third, we should surround ourselves with wise counsel. Very important that we do that. Very important that we are willing to listen to wise counselors. That we don't simply rely on our own insight, and that we don't only invite voices and opinions that are always just like ours. You see this in business. You see this in churches where leaders don't listen to any dissenting views, or leaders surround themselves with just people who will automatically say yes to whatever they want. That's not helpful for anybody. Surrounding yourself with wise counsel is extremely important. And those wise counselors may not always agree with you, and that's where the safety comes in. That in a multitude of counsel there is wisdom. So we want to make sure that we are open to wise people speaking into our lives, open to wise people giving us input to help us to make decisions as we go through life. Fourth, God's will is accomplished even through human scheming, meaning that people may have their schemes and their plans and their agendas, but God's will can still go forth through that. God is not limited by the plans that men make up. And so as believers, what that means for us is that we just continue to trust the Lord. We continue to rest in His providence, to rest in His divine purposes. Sometimes we know what they are, sometimes we don't. But here's what we do know, that real people make real decisions that have real consequences. And yet, they are not sovereign, God is. Now, how all those things work out and how those things come to pass at one time, in some ways is a mystery known only to God. But we know that people have plans and schemes of evil, and we know that God is doing good in our life. And so we just have to rest that God is working that out. That in spite of the world or the culture or individuals who would seek the demise of the things of God, and these are real people making real decisions that have real consequences, yet God is sovereign, they're not. And so how that resolves itself in my life, I can't always explain, but I do know that I trust the Lord and that His will can be accomplished even through human scheming. And then fifthly, without trusting in the Lord, our hope will falter. We saw that with Ahithophel. We see that in people's life today. You have to continually put your hope in God. The psalmist said, "Why so downcast, O my soul? Put your hope in God." In weak moments, in seasons of suffering, in seasons of disappointment, we've got to remind ourselves that our hope is in God, or else we will get discouraged and very quickly lose our joy. We don't want that. We want to have a joy that's rooted in Christ, founded in His Word, and can handle the storms and the wind and the rain that beats up against the house, but our house doesn't fall because it's built on rock, not sand. And we have to remind ourselves of that often. We want our hope and joy to be able to be sustained no matter what we go through. And we do that by reminding ourselves daily of who our God is. And then finally, a summary from Psalm 74. We long for the power and glory of God to be displayed. Psalm 74, verse 22, "Arise, O God, defend your cause." We long for the Lord to display His power, to display His glory. And that's really our heart cry is, Lord, in my life, display your glory. Lord, through our church, display your glory. Lord, in our home, through our family, display your glory. Let that be the prayer of your heart and the cry of your heart. That whatever's happening around you, that you would just say, God, I just want people to see Christ through me. I just want people to see your goodness, your greatness, your glory, your power, your majesty at work in my life, my family, our ministry, and our church. Let that be your prayer and your hope today. All right, pray through that. Seek the Lord with that. Find your hope in the Lord today and enjoy your time in the Word.